Thank you, Megan, for that wonderful introduction. Thank you, Chancellor Mnookin, and a special thanks to the class of 2024 for inviting me to speak here today. To be back in Madison, to be back in iconic Camp Randall Stadium, to celebrate you and all that you have achieved, know this, for me, this is an honor of a lifetime. It's crazy how quickly time passes and your life changes. It seems like only yesterday that I was right here, suited up in my cardinal and white striped game bibs, in the student section, trying to avoid getting hit by vomit during jump around. Yet here I am, back today at Camp Randall, a stone's throw from that very student section, for this beautiful commencement. My family is here with me, my parents, Bob and Mary, my wife, Jillian, and our 3 kids, a 4-year-old, a 2.5-year-old, and a 4-month-old. And while my outfit today is a bit different than those game bibs, some things do not change while in Madison. Thanks to our youngest child this morning, I was thrown up on one more time. It was so important for me to have my family here because I wanted them to experience what all of you already know. There is absolutely nothing like joining your fellow Badgers here in Camp Randall. 19 years ago, when I first stepped foot on this campus for my official visit, I had no idea how much becoming a Badger would mean to me. Before I became a member of the class of 2011, I was just a hockey player from Danvers, Massachusetts. Massachusetts, okay, yeah, some mass in the house, I like it. Back in 2005, it was very rare for players from the Northeast to venture out to the Midwest, but I was intrigued. I was fortunate to be recruited by the Badger women's hockey team, and I was really excited to hop on the plane and come see this place. I planned to keep an open mind and committed to touring all the schools I had been in communications with. But then I visited UW-Madison, and everything about this place blew me away. The city, the campus, the culture, the people, the team, the traditions. I just knew that I loved it here. I told my family immediately after going on my visit, I'm going to UW-Madison. And then I added, I think I should just go ahead and cancel that visit to the University of Minnesota. Which I did. A great decision, if I do say so myself, and I know you would join me in that. I made lifelong friends during my time at UW-Madison. We bonded over tailgating and Badger games, late nights at the College Club or State Street Brats, Halloween celebrations during Freak Fest when, all the way back in 2007, I dressed as an iPod walking around singing songs on command. And yes, iPods were the cool new thing when I was here. All-nighters at Memorial Library fueled by way too much caffeine. Pictures of Spotted Cow outside at the terrace and sunbathing on Bascom. Once the temps rose above 45 degrees, probably. Mifflin block parties. Yep. Frigid scooter rides down University Ave during snowstorms. And of course, national championships I won here with my teammates, and shout out to any of the Badger women's hockey team here graduating today. All of you know on your journey to today's commencement, it wasn't always easy. On top of general difficulties of navigating class, practice, clubs, and the careers you're working towards, you've faced some pretty unique challenges in the past few years, like the unprecedented times of a pandemic that changed everything, or social movements that pushed you to explore how you want to use your voice, and so much more. There's an incredible amount of uncertainty about what comes next. No matter the challenges you tackled, public or private, you found a way to figure things out and get it done. Think about how valuable that is. During a time period that everyone called unprecedented, you graduated with a high level of adaptability, curiosity, and resourcefulness that will help you for the rest of your life. Myself and my fellow alumni are enormously proud of you, and you should be equally proud of yourselves. For your perseverance during a historic time, let's hear it for the class of 2024. You've likely received some great advice along the way from friends and teachers, coaches, mentors, plus your parents and family who may be with you in the stands here today. It's been a team effort at times, for sure. During my time at UW, I got brilliant advice from a legendary UW alum and our head coach of our women's hockey team, Mark Johnson. At the start of every season, during our team welcome meetings, while other coaches around the league were going through a laundry list of rules and do's and don'ts for their players, Coach Johnson shared with us one simple piece of advice: make good decisions. Coach Johnson did not give us explicit instructions. Instead, he invited us to consider and be accountable for what actually makes a decision good. He was trusting us to navigate any uncertainty with our own values and instincts as our guide. For the class of 2024, I want to borrow a page from Coach Johnson's book, No Explicit Instructions, but 3 things I've learned in my life and across my career that I truly believe can unlock your full potential no matter where you go with your UW diploma. Number 1, be your authentic self. Now, before I tell you this story, I want to make something crystal clear. At times, I've come across this misconception that an Olympic athlete is an Olympic-level athlete at all sports. But I can speak from personal experience that being an Olympic hockey player does not mean I am a fast runner, or a high jumper, or a good basketball player, or a skier. Quite the opposite, actually. If you were to see me try to shoot a free throw this weekend at the Kohl Center, Badgers Coach Mosley would not be interested. So imagine this. I'm at my in-laws' lake house years ago, and everyone there is pretty much at a level just below a professional water skier, even the 6-year-olds. So, yeah. So when I'm encouraged to try it, having never done it before in my entire life, you can imagine my apprehension. Even as I was working myself up to get behind the boat, my young nephew and niece went flying by on one ski, doing tricks, high-fiving each other out there. And anyone that's ever tried to water ski knows that it comes with a shoreline of onlookers, hooting and hollering, each time you fall. Great. So after my 35th attempt, literally, I finally pop up behind the back of the boat. Cheers came from the shore, even though most of them had lost peak interest at around attempt number 5. I was too exhausted from all the falls to really enjoy the experience, but I was up. And you know what? I realized how much I loved water skiing. And it revealed a lot about myself along the way. Water skiing in this environment meant doing something I am terrible at while people watched. Not comfortable, right? But throughout my life, I have learned that being true to myself under any circumstance often means actions that are hard or that others do not want to do. It means doing things that may make you in the moment feel uncertain or vulnerable. It can mean saying things that are unpopular and often are very controversial. You might be skeptical of the idea because it's become so mainstream. I know I'm not the first person to tell you this, particularly over the last few years. Everyone from politicians to pop stars has asked you to bring your full self to the room, honor your story, be you, represent the authenticity of your experience. But the reality is this: you hear it a lot because it's incredibly important. You'll meet so many people that go through life without trying to be their authentic self. They hang in the middle. They may be present in their relationships and their careers, but only at the surface. They avoid putting themselves out there or doing and saying things that they really feel because it's hard, or they will look inadequate. Maybe you've even been this person in your life. We all have, myself included, because it takes a lot of effort, vulnerability, courage to live authentically. When you clarify who you are and what you believe, you're holding yourself to a new standard that requires standing up for yourself wherever you go. Yes, you could always be that person who decides authenticity is not worth the investment, but I would advise you not to be. You have a choice. If you have a choice between bringing your authentic self or accepting a less dynamic version of you, Always choose authenticity, even if it means you're choosing a more difficult adventure. Number 2, all human beings fail. One of the most important people in my life loves to quote Jane Eyre, "The shadows are just as important as the light." Whether it's a job, an interview, an exam, a game, or a first date, at some point, you will fail. But understand this, winners fail all the time. Don't get me wrong, it can hurt, it's embarrassing, it's disappointing, demoralizing, unwelcome. But those emotions, even if it feels like you're in the depths of those shadows, will become fuel to unlock new achievements, new levels of achievements for you. This is something I know about all too well. I failed publicly on the biggest stage of my athletic career, twice, 4 years apart, at the Olympics, live on NBC. I have 3 Olympic medals and I'm proud of all of them, but let's talk about the first 2. Silver from Vancouver and silver from Sochi in 2014. I'd be lying to you if I stood here and said as a young kid that I dreamt of second place. I didn't run on a treadmill until complete exhaustion or skate laps here at the Kohl Center wearing weighted vests thinking to myself, oof, I can't wait for second. I'm dying for silver. For the United States women's hockey team, silver represented failure to reach our ultimate goal. The real pain for us came in that 2014 Olympics in Sochi. For us, the Sochi Games were supposed to be a revenge Olympics after we came in second to Canada in Vancouver. I'll let the suspense build. I need some water. But in the 2014 gold medal game against Canada, we were up 2-0 with about 3 minutes left, and we crumbled. Canada quickly tied it up and forced overtime, and all of our hearts broke as we watched them score to capture the gold medal 8 minutes into OT. We lost again. I failed again, in epic fashion, live on NBC. In our locker room, there was no celebration for that second silver. We sat in the heaviness of disappointment, and in tears and in silence. A few days later in the Olympic Village, one of my coaches came up to me and he said, "Did you do everything that you could?" At the time, I answered honestly, yes, I left my whole heart on the ice. As captain of the team, I took the loss incredibly personal. I was already thinking, was that my last Olympics? There's no way I can do this again. We failed, I failed, I have to live with it. And maybe eventually I will be happy that we even got this far. But a few months after Sochi, I got another call from that same coach and he said, "Remember when I asked you if you did everything that you could? Well, I want to ask you again, did you do everything that you could?" And in that moment, when I had the space to really reflect, I was able to say, no, I didn't. There was so much more I can do and so much more we can do. That's when I learned this. Failure is not final unless you choose not to learn from it. So we chose to start learning. And that's a choice that you will also have the chance to make. Do not respond to failure by running away. Run toward the opportunity to grow, change, evolve. To prepare for the Pyeongchang Olympics in 2018, our team's motto was, "You cannot stay the same and expect a different result." In the 4 years leading up to those games, we took new approaches, looking for every edge we could find, a 1% improvement in any area, a philosophy we adopted from the British cycling team in the early 2000s. Everything from the way we practiced and trained to our video sessions, our mental performance sessions, nothing was off limits to rediscover a new or better approach. Some of it seemed minor, like changing your pillow, because if you can get 10 more minutes of sleep, that might be the difference. Or washing your hands more frequently to avoid illness and thus ensure more training days. But I admit, some of it seemed crazy, and there was an enormous amount of pushback. We went through some practices blindfolded. See if it might give us a competitive edge in engaging our senses. Not exactly conventional hockey training, if you can imagine. But fast forward to 2018 Olympics, we found ourselves against arch rival Canada again for the 3rd straight gold medal game. But this time, when I looked at my teammates' faces, I had no doubt. Our past failures had put us on the road to finding out exactly what we needed to win. In a back-and-forth, nerve-wracking game which needed 60 minutes of regulation, 20 minutes of overtime, and a shootout, we came out on top as Olympic gold medalists. And everyone in this stadium knows Badgers get the job done when we're together. So I want you to know that there were 9 Badgers alongside me in my Olympic journey, and I want to acknowledge the trio of Badgers that I won gold with in 2018, Alex Rigsby, Brianna Decker, and Hillary Knight. We hope we made Wisconsin proud. That on-ice celebration was the most amazing mix of joy and relief, and honestly, it meant more to many of us because we had failed before. Does that mean failure's worth it? Well, my message to you is, it can be. It depends on how you react to it. Since some measure of failure is inevitable in each one of your journeys you're about to take, I hope you react by learning what you're willing to do to find your own version of success. In hockey and in business, I owe so much of my success to support from an incredibly dedicated group of teammates, coaches, family, and friends. And that is the genesis of my third and final lesson I want to share with you today. Number 3, people matter, and the relationships you create are critically important. You might have an image in your head of the most significant relationship in your life. People who have celebrated your highs, picked you up during your lows, and were present for the kind of memories that just wouldn't be the same with anyone else. And you know that defending and nurturing those relationships will add more meaning to your life. The question I want to raise to you is how? How do you take care of the people you care about? How do you honor relationships in a way that allows for genuine connections to grow? I think it comes down to respect for what people have been through, for the differences they represent, and the way that they can add to your own lens for engaging with the world. Even unexpected relationships. My sophomore year here at UW, I lived in a house with 4 other teammates on Lathrop Street, right over there running parallel to Breeze Terrace. We were excited for the start of football season, knowing we would be living right in prime tailgating territory. That first September Saturday, we all planned to be up really early, which, as we know, here probably meant around 10 a.m., in order to get ready for the game. There was a knock on our door over there at 7 a.m., and I opened the door to find a middle-aged man, shirtless and smiling, holding a bottle of brandy and a Costco-sized package of toilet paper. He reached out his hand to introduce himself, and he told me and my teammates to call him Scooby. I hope he's here today, honestly. He was a lifelong Badger football season ticket holder, and his proposition for us that day was simple. Me and my group of friends and our wives have been parking our cars here and tailgating in this lot for over 30 years. Anytime this house changes tenants, we show up on the first day of the season with toilet paper and a proposal. You and your friends can eat or drink anything we bring all weekend, as long as we can use your bathroom. We supply the toilet paper, he said. Needless to say, we embraced Scooby and his shirtless friends, cheered the Badgers on and tailgated with them every weekend, and we even turned them into women's hockey fans, and some of us have kept in touch over the years since. Relationships and people come into our lives in all sorts of ways. And as you leave here, you'll find even more so that the special connection between Badgers is always worthy of respect. But this lesson has shown up in other contexts of my life too. Perhaps the biggest was back in 2017 when I helped our women's national team in a fight for gender equality and equity against our governing body of USA Hockey. Some important background, each year USA Hockey at that time was investing millions of dollars into development programs for boys and 0 for girls. There was complete inequity when it came to training stipends, family support, insurance, nutritional needs, medical needs, training staff, and more. So I led a group that started pushing USA Hockey for fair treatment. But after more than a year of meetings and proposals, we got nowhere. As a result, 2 weeks before the Women's World Championship, we threatened to boycott. This tournament is everything in a non-Olympic year, our Rose Bowl, if you will. But we were clear, we would not play unless our proposals were fully accepted. Would USA Hockey agree to be on the right side of history? I'm proud to say that they eventually did, and they instituted changes to guarantee more opportunities for women and girls in the game. But the press coverage did not dive into how our relationships among all the players was what made the difference. Honestly, there were moments we were scared to death. How would it all play out? Would we be cut? Our dreams shattered? When people are scared, relationships splinter. That matters because a boycott only works if there's a combined front from everyone. A few replacement players can unravel the whole thing. So we had to be intentional about honoring relationships with each other on the current team and almost every other female hockey player in the country. I respected how hard everyone had worked to be in a position to qualify for Team USA at that World Championships and what it means to wear the jersey. I respected those who were young and working their way to the jersey. So I personally made 708 phone calls to female hockey players in the United States, their parents, and even their college, high school, or junior programs. I believe they deserve to hear from us what we were trying to achieve. Those phone calls created space for trust, communication, and healthy disagreement that served a shared purpose. Really, they were demonstrating our choice to value each person who might be impacted by our decisions, because we wanted our relationships to be built on something real. Investing time and energy into those relationships gave us the united front that made the boycott successful and ultimately helped us all win, and the next generation too. Please take my word for it. Relationships are much more important than Olympic medals. My medals are tucked away in a Nike duffel bag somewhere under my bed, probably collecting a layer of dust right now. My connections and my friends and my family are always there for me and have been the cornerstones in my career and life on and off the ice. And they will be for you too, so don't ever forget that. As I look at the class of 2024, I know you will navigate your own story. You're leaving here with a very fancy physical diploma, but years from now, it may too collect us somewhere. So what will you carry with you? How will your time at the University of Wisconsin show up in the way that you move through the world? I hope that it shows up in the relationships you've built on a solid foundation of respect, the choice to restart when failure finds its way into a chapter in your story, and the courage to bring your authentic self wherever you go. You'll explore a lot of possibilities, and each one will come with some level of uncertainty. But you're used to that by now, and UW has given you everything you need to trust your instincts as you figure things out. The future can be daunting at times. The real world can be brutal. But when it is, you'll all be okay. But don't sit back and sulk. Take bold action and bring your story to life. And along the way, take care of yourself and your village and have some fun. How? Leave your hometown at least once and live somewhere else. Dance at the weddings you go to. Go visit your grandparents. Floss your teeth. Play outside. Show up consistently, especially when it is inconvenient for you. Order the extra plate of French fries for the whole table. Aim to be fearless. Drink more water than you think you should, especially this weekend. Find something that you truly care about and relentlessly pursue it. Get rid of the toxicity in your life. Be thoughtful, generous, and kind. And try not to worry about what everyone else is doing or how great their life is. It only looks that way on TikTok. Always remember that integrity is our only true currency. Go out, you guys, and discover who you are and what you stand for. I cannot wait to see how your stories open doors, solve problems, and leave a real and lasting impact on the world and the people around you. And always remember that the entirety of Camp Randall, a whole sea of cardinal and white, has your back and is cheering for you every step of the way. Congratulations, go Badgers, on Wisconsin!